Awkward, isn't it? Nothingness. We have this idea that life is like packing a suitcase for a trip. We have a fixed amount of space and a fixed number of tasks that we try to fit in. Now, some of us may be more organised and manage to fit everything in. Then there are the rest of us that are disorganised and end up having to sit on the suitcase to try and force it shut. Now, we become victims of information overload, with very little time for excursions into our inner world. In our age of connectivity, we have become disconnected from ourselves. Introspection and reflection are a distant memory to many people, with the balance between being active and inactive leaning heavily to being overly active. Yet, it can be extremely beneficial to not be busy. Doing nothing can be great for our well-being. Now, busyness. Busyness can be a very effective defense mechanism for warding off disturbing thoughts and feelings. Yet it is when we are truly doing nothing that we can finally confront what really matters. I want to ask you all to do something for me. I want you to put your hands up if you've ever used your mobile phone whilst in the bathroom. Yeah, me too. I've done it as well. Basically, in a study called IT in the Toilet, it was found that 75% of us use their mobile phones whilst in the bathroom, with 29% of people saying that they do it to avoid boredom. Exactly. It's quite crazy. As adults, on average, we spend around 8 hours, 41 minutes in front of screens every single day. It's more time than we spend sleeping. I don't understand myself. I mean, it's gotten to that point that there's even a digital detox retreat where you can pay to disconnect from your digital devices and reconnect with the world offline. Now, a fear of boredom, loneliness, missing out, and a fear of being overwhelmed by anxious, depressive thoughts could be part of the underlying dread of being alone with one's thoughts. Now, doing nothing and boredom are also closely linked. Whilst many of us find it hard to tolerate boredom, it can trigger our imaginations and creativity, creating limitless possibilities. Now, we live in a world where we have an almost limitless amount of entertainment and distraction to hand, and it is easier to find ourselves in a state of constant busyness than it is to do nothing. Our activities online, a world of multitasking and hyperactivity, help us to convince ourselves that we are being productive. Now, thankfully, millions of people around the world are turning to different modalities, such as floating, to escape their busy lives. Now, essentially, floating is a way to enter a deep state of relaxation by lying in darkness for up to an hour or more, suspended in a warm Epsom salt water solution that simulates zero gravity. So this allows the user to disconnect from the outside world and enter a deep meditative state and experience nothingness in its purest form. Now, for the last 7 years, I've probably floated, I guess, over 160 hours with 3 overnight float sessions of around 8 hours straight. And each session has been totally different, with some being a lot more visual and deeper than others. I've had the opportunity to explore my consciousness and to experience lucid dreaming on a number of different occasions. Now, for many, floating is a little bit like going on a date with yourself, a naked date to be precise, which is fine. I can deal with that. And you get your own private pod anyway, so nobody's going to see. So once the outside world is shut out, all that you're left with is you and your mind. Now, to many people, an hour of just you and your thoughts sounds pretty scary. Remember that 75% of us find it difficult to go to the bathroom without our mobile phones. Now, floating has helped me a great deal over the last number of years. It's allowed me to get a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. It's given me the opportunity to grow in confidence, and it allowed me to be able to open up my own centre and obviously stand here today and talk to you and accept myself for who I am. Now, floating has been around a long time. Since 1954, in fact, when John C. Lilly, the American neuroscientist, built his first upright tank. And he built that to study the effects of sensory deprivation. Lilly wanted to test the behaviour theory model to see if all mental activity would cease if all mental stimuli was absent. And instead of turning off, the mind stayed on and continued to have experiences independent of all external sensory stimuli. Lily began to think of the body as hardware and the mind as software, programmable instructions determining how the flow of information through the system, the human biocomputer if you will, is to be processed, resulting in experiences of thought and emotion. Now essentially, the float tank is a tool. It allows you to tap into your unconscious mind and make positive changes. I've seen this for various different clients, with some being able to manage their anger more effectively and to have greater levels of confidence and creativity. And this has given them the freedom to be able to live more happier and fulfilling lives. The float tank is literally the only place on earth where you can experience this level of disconnect from the outside world and this level of self-exploration in a zero-gravity environment. It is a place where time and space disappear, and your physical awareness diminishes once you can no longer feel the water against your skin. The tank is merely a key, so it opens your mind and frees your body and nervous system of its natural patterns. There seems to be a renewed interest in using modern flotation tanks to explore altered states of consciousness, just as John C. Lilly and his contemporaries did many years ago, with elite athletes, entrepreneurs, amongst many others, using float tanks to explore, obviously, their altered states of consciousness and enhance their performance by tuning into their subconscious mind and fine-tuning their neural networks. I've also had the privilege of working with a number of Team GB rowers, such as Charlotte Booth, Anne Sinclair, Georgia Francis and John Collins, that have all used floating as part of their training in terms of recovery and in terms of pre-race visualization. They've all stated, when I've spoken to them, that they felt that their mental performance improved during their racing and allowed them to focus on the task at hand in a more productive way. Interestingly, Jamie Wheel and Stephen Kotler, both authors, found that Navy SEALs use float tanks for accelerated learning. By disconnecting from the outside world and in training specific brainwaves, the Navy SEALs are able to learn a foreign language in 6 weeks as opposed to 6 months. There's a whole ton of research and new studies that are being undertaken at the Laurie Institute of Brain Research last year, with Justin Feinstein and his team discovering that basically flotation has a similar effect to anti-anxiety drugs on the brain. It appears that our brain enters a state that's not too dissimilar to transient hypofrontality. So this means that the focused thinking part of our brain gets a rest, and this allows other parts and functions to become more predominant. During the float session, the prefrontal cortex, the location of much of systematic thinking and decision-making, quietens. And floating helps to induce theta brainwaves, same as in NREM sleep, and this creates a deep state of calm and sense of well-being. In theta, we are in a dreamlike state with access to information beyond our normal consciousness awareness. Now, all the data shows how embracing what many of us spend our waking hours trying to avoid, the quietening of the senses, can benefit a range of different afflictions. So by learning to embrace the inperience as opposed to the experience, we can learn to reconnect with ourselves and embrace effortless action on a subconscious level. Floating helped me a lot last year when I ran my first half marathon. Not being a physically fit man, I hit the wall quite early on in my training, and I found it very difficult to keep on going through. So floating during my training sessions helped me to focus my mind on the next session and helped me to try and achieve flow state a lot faster. So Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the Hungarian psychologist, recognized and named the psychological concept of flow. Now, he describes flow as being completely involved in activity for its own sake. The ego falls away, time flies, and every action, thought, and movement follows inevitably from the previous one. Your whole body is involved, and distilled to its very essence, flow allows you to enter a state of optimal experience. Now, many of us would like to achieve a flow state on a regular basis, and it's not just limited to elite athletes, artists, and performers. You can achieve flow state through a range of different activities, such as a task at work, engaging in hobbies, or even through running. like I did with the marathon. So floating actually helped to train my mind to become more susceptible to achieving flow state a lot faster. More and more people around the world are floating and using flotation tanks. By embracing nothingness, not only can it help enhance our minds and alter our perceptions of time, it can also make our lives a lot easier and make us a lot happier. So we know that doing nothing can be very beneficial for you. It can help you achieve a lot more by doing a lot less. Training your mind to just be will provide you the space and clarity to be able to make positive changes and rational decisions. So when you get a break today, what I would like you to do is to take your diaries out and schedule in some do nothing time within the next week. Changing your life starts with changing how you think. And the float tank provides you with the space to be able to do this. Managing your thoughts effectively by doing nothing will make life easier and you a whole lot happier. Make sure you do it. Learn to enjoy your company because you and your thoughts are going to be together for a very long time. Thank you.